Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's 3 days before the big day. And all this weekend, lots of fun festivities going on, but inspiration. So, yeah, I was thinking about the holidays and I was thinking about something that we all enjoy at the holidays, and that is our memories of the holidays or memories in general. Now, memory is a funny thing. It is in primitive times, before we were as quite as sophisticated as we are now, it was a tool for, remembering where the good food was, remembering where the cranky animals were, the dangerous animals, the dangerous scenery, landscape, etc. It was um, uh, something that allowed us to learn in an active way so we would survive to be these fantastic creations that we are today. And well, judging by the results, it has worked. However, one thing I have noticed, especially about family holiday type memories, is that memories are like layer cakes. Memories are uh, our childhood experiences, our experiences in young adulthood, even experiences now. They all begin to layer on each other, and if not properly utilized, they can affect the layers of memories that happen as we lay them down. So let me try and give you an example of how we're not necessarily using them effectively. So if you know a handyman, handymen have a box full of tools. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I'm a handy guy. It's pretty common for handy guys to use, oh, I don't know. One of the things most handymen will recognize that they use screwdrivers for like chisels, little pries, stuff like that. And in certain circumstances, they will work in a pinch. But if you continue to use them in those capacities, more often than not, they will break or wear out prematurely. Well, and then you won't have the tool, and then you'll have to replace it. And so memories are kind of like this. So unlike our ancestors who would use memories to, you know, just basically be learning tools, in our modern world, memories in many cases have become, well, almost anti-tools, almost stumbling blocks unless we learn to use them effectively. So, so let's pretend, and let's pretend you have a memory from when you were a child of, I don't know, a fight at Christmas, a family fight, maybe some kind of skirmish, some kind of skirmish around the dining room table about any issue, really. And maybe you were a child and you really didn't understand what the conflict was about, but you recognized that as conflict, and it didn't make you feel so great. Well, as a child, when you get that memory, if you don't address it as you get older, you become a hostage to it because let's pretend you're 5 and there's some kind of issue and you don't properly talk about those feelings, etc., etc. Then you start to get a little worried. And then maybe when you're 6 or you're 7, other circumstances will happen where maybe a similar circumstances happen and you're actually far more sensitive to feeling the repercussions of the circumstances because you didn't use the memory as a tool. You simply use the memory as sort of, it's like having a flashing beacon that you never figure out why it's a flashing beacon. It's just adding to the weight of the memory. Now I know this is complex, but hold on. Hold on. I think we're going to get through this. So as you age, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you start getting a little more mature. Let's say you're 12 years old. let's say you're 12 years old and maybe conflicts or things like that happen around a specific occasion, and Christmas could be an example of that. And instead of being able to deal with that like a 12-year-old, you are immediately teleported back to when you're 5 because these emotions are still there. And so it becomes kind of like if you've ever had a layer cake with, those cakes you get, they have, lots of 12 layers of chocolate and vanilla and nugget and all kinds of stuff. The problem is that if the bottom layer is manure, even if you put on a nice layer, like so for example, let's pretend you have a crappy Christmas memory, and that's the manure. Then when you have a good Christmas memory, and that's maybe chocolate, it doesn't get past the fact that the chocolate is laying on top of the manure. And then you have another Christmas memory that maybe it's not so great, maybe it's not quite manure, maybe it's just, oh, I don't know, rotten eggs. It's rotten eggs. So it's got manure, chocolate, rotten eggs. And then maybe you have 3 Christmases that are moonbeams and sunshine, and it's vanilla, it's nougat, it's icing, it's wonderful, but you can't get past the fact that the manure and the rotten eggs are at the bottom because you never dealt with the memories. And this is something that gets into the psyche of a person and really affects their ability to enjoy the holidays, going certain places, being involved in certain circumstances, even towards enjoying relationships. Because there will be a circumstance where something will happen that will trigger the memory, not of the vanilla cake, but of the manure. You might have a memory that does trigger the vanilla cake, but because the vanilla cake is connected to the manure and the rotten eggs, that's all that you feel. So in regard to memories, as we talk about the holidays, because I know you folks will be having family come together and all that kind of stuff, and on paper, it looks like it's going to be a great time. But if you actually interview people about the holidays, it's not uncommon for them to express that they have a lot of anxiety over the holidays because of the old manure and rotten eggs that are living there. So I'm going to give you a hack that's going to help you overcome all of the rotten eggs, manure, and everything else, and make it so that from now on, you can have simply delicious layers. And that is simply going to the mirror in regard to yourself and your memories and asking yourself the following question: am I maturing? So what does that mean? So in the Bible, and if you don't believe in the Bible, that's fine, but in the Bible it says, when I was a child, I behaved like a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And all of the parables and stories, whether you look in the Bible or the Quran or any of the other sagely books, they are all about voyages of discovery, of maturity. And if you refer to my video on the prodigal son, that was a voyage of maturity. And a lot of the drives of my videos are actually, you recognize where you've been, you then say to yourself, I'm going to learn the lesson of where I've been, and I'm going to embrace the maturity of moving past those issues and accessing a part of my mind, a part of your mind, which understands that even though the manure happened a long time ago, you now have the maturity to simply clear the plate, clear away all the stuff from a logical perspective, put it away, make a nice clean pie plate or cake plate, and have all the memories that begin to layer on. You can have high quality ones through things like observing, decent boundaries, acceptable behavior, goodness, light, peace, all of that kind of stuff. And you can stop being a prisoner of your memories. So I know this is a deep topic and I could prattle on for hours, but well, it's almost Christmas time. But the strongest encouragement I can give to everyone in regard to our coming Christmas holidays is if you have some personal anxiety over your get together, uh, either a get together that's planned, a potential one, whatever, maybe you have some anxiety over someone who's attending, maybe you have some anxiety over a place, or maybe you have some anxiety over the unknown. Perhaps you have some anxiety over maybe you're interacting with someone who reminds you, they may not have anything to do with a bad memory you have, but there's certain factors there that make you recall that and creates a little bit of anxiety. The greatest gift you can give yourself is simply go to the mirror, look at yourself, do some affirmations, talk about how wonderful you are. Talk to yourself and tell you you're great, you're wonderful, you're awesome, you're going to get what you want. But the best question of all you can ask is you can say, am I maturing? Am I learning the lesson that those memories put in there? And if I'm not learning the lesson, take a minute, write down what you think the lesson was, apply it to your life now, and then allow the power of memories to no longer be your prison, but your gift. Merry Christmas to all my dear friends. I hope this holiday finds you with so much peace. And near or far, know that I love you all. And I'm looking forward to talking to you all again very soon. Thanks, folks.